So this semester, file management is going to be very important because we're using SOLIDWORKS assemblies and we're going to have multiple solid pieces and files that you're going to be submitting. I really want you to think carefully about how you're going to organize the semester's worth of work so that you can submit these easily and without any confusion on either of our parts when I try to grade. So for those of you who don't know, when you create a SOLIDWORKS assembly, each individual solid that you import into that assembly is its own file. And the way the assembly works is that that file has a path in the computer that it has to follow in order to find it. It's all associated. So if you move that file or change the name or don't set it up properly when you first create the assembly, the issue will be when I try to open it or when you try to open it and submit it, the link will be broken and the solid model will not come over. So I want to make sure that everyone really understands what they should be doing for the folder structure, and I'm going to show you an example now of how I really recommend you do this. So I'm going to just minimize SOLIDWORKS for a second, and I'm going to start by creating a brand new folder on my desktop. I recommend you schedule it or you order it by week because I'm going to be discussing these modules based on like week 1, week 2, week 3. So for example, week 1, we create a folder. I'll put it right here. And the very first thing you do after you create your folder is I want you to go into your Blackboard. You're going to go into course content. You're going to go into that corresponding week. You're going to go to assignment downloads, and you're going to download all of these files into that week 1 folder. It's going to be a drawing, probably the assembly drawing, and then you're going to have a SOLIDWORKS file. Okay, so just an example of how you would do that. You click on the down arrow here. You click on the file name link there. You'll see the download automatically starts. If you do it this way, you're going to have to actually physically drag this into the folder. Okay, so you'll see that in my Firefox browser, it downloads down here. I can actually go ahead and click here and drag it into my folder, or I can click show all, and that should open a window showing all my downloads. You also can do show in folder, and that's going to give you a list of things that you've downloaded recently. So obviously mine's got a bunch of stuff in it, but moral of the story is you want to download all the files that exist inside of that week 1 assignment downloads folder, and they all should live inside of this week 1 folder. Okay, now that is not the only thing you're going to want to do, especially when you first start out. You want to decide what you're using for fixturing. I'm going to have all of our fixturing that I hand out inside of course content. At the very top is a folder called fixture files. So if this is the first time you're using a fixture, for example, you're going to want to come in here and download this zip file. So this is the Kurt Weiss file that we're going to be using for pretty much all of our projects. And again, I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to download this zip file, and I'm also going to put that in the week 1 folder. Okay. Now you'll notice that this is a zip file, which means there's actually it's compressed, and there's actually more than one piece inside of here. So if you have never dealt with a zip file before, it's really easy in Windows-based systems. All you need to do is left click on it to select it, right click on the folder. You're going to go to extract all, and it's going to default to the folder that we're currently in. You see it's in week 1 here. It's going to create another folder called Kurt Weiss Assembly, which is actually going to be an issue. I want to actually put all this stuff inside of this week 1 without any subfolders. So I'm going to extract. I'm actually going to go into this Kurt Weiss Assembly, and you'll see there's three files here: a solid assembly, and 2 solid parts. I'm going to cut these and paste them back into the week 1 folder. And then once I have these 3, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of the zip file in that Kurt Weiss assembly folder. So you really only need to do that for the first time. Going forward, you can maybe save these somewhere else and just copy them into your weekly folder as you start them. But you're going to want to have a Kurt Weiss assembly in every week 1 folder. You don't want to reuse these 3 files over and over again. What'll happen is you'll start a project 3 or 4 weeks down the road and you'll accidentally modify one that you did back in week 1 or week 2 and you'll blow it up. So you really want to be cognizant and make sure you do not reuse these assemblies. You want all these files in the week that you're working on, and those are the ones that you're going to use for that week only. Afterwards, you're going to restart again. So your week 2 folder, you might copy and paste these out, these base ones, into week 2 before you start doing any other assembly work. Okay. When you go to submit this, it's going to be another important thing, because you're actually going to zip this whole week 1 folder and send that whole folder to me, and that's what I'm going to use for grading. Okay. As we work through the semester, you'll probably get the hang of this a little bit better. For right now, just the only thing you need to worry about is you want all these files inside of a week 1 folder. We'll talk about it during the lab. It's not going to be a big deal. Now, these won't be the only things we're working on too. We're also going to create some SolidWorks files for our stock, for example. Those are also going to be saved in here. Okay, so you always want to make sure you're working out of a folder similar to this structure. Okay. In the coming videos, we're going to actually build out an assembly, and I will continue to explore and explain how this is going to work in the future for the rest of the class. So continue on this week. Check out the SolidWorks assembly video that'll be coming out next, and I will see you soon. Thanks.